alaikum. Upcoming class alert. Upcoming class alert. Yeah, you heard right. We got an upcoming class alert taught by Ustada Laila Nasheeba. So stay close, because listen, it's going to be good. This series is the series on the Jinn. Please, you're going to want to listen and take some notes. Streaming on all major platforms. Once again, taught by Ustada Laila Nasheeba. Streaming on all major platforms. Channel Sunnahfollowers.
Assalamu alaikum wa Rasulullah. I'd like to welcome everybody to our Aqidah class. And as promised, today, inshallah, what I'm going to do is, since we completed our discussion on the Jinn, tonight what I'm going to do is, our discussion on the angels. I'm going to talk about the Jinn, because whenever we speak about the angels, it always comes up. People ask me about the Jinn, because of, people think that, want to know, are the Jinns like the angels? Are the Jinns active in our lives? Are they our friends? Do the Jinns help us? Can we call upon the Jinn? That's a big one I get. Can we call upon the Jinn for help? That's always something that shocks me when Muslims ask that question. And I just don't get that question from converts. I get it from a lot of Muslims who come from Muslim countries in Africa and even in the Middle East. A lot of Muslims believe that you can call upon the Jinn for help, that the Jinn will come and assist us, that and all this other stuff. So because of all these questions I get, and because I have the new shahadas, and I just finished the angels, I'm going to go into detail about the Jinn. So I want you guys to make sure that you pay attention in all my classes. I also want you to share my lectures to the friends on your social media platform, so that the Muslims can get upon the correct Aqidah when it comes to Jinn, and think of all the blessings you will get for setting the record straight with them. And also try to get your people to join my live classes. I get a lot of emails with questions about Islam. It's so much easier for me to answer them right here, live. Because, that way you can express yourselves better. So please try to invite all your Muslim friends to come to my live classes to learn Islam and its truthfulness. And by the way, I did receive a couple of emails to this morning from some of the new shahadas here. And thank you for your kind words. One of the brothers and a sister here sent me, they're a couple, a married couple. They sent me an email saying how attending my classes has really enriched their marriage. This brother and sister have been married for a long time. And they said they've been Muslim for a couple of years. For over a couple of years. But you go on the internet and you listen to this speaker, you listen to that person, you listen to this. Are you really learning anything? And that's what they said. They sat down and talked about it. They haven't learned anything. They just hop around from YouTube channel to YouTube channel, listening to this personality, listening to that personality. And they said they're not teaching like me. They're lecturing. They said that they understand the difference in learning and lecturing, because they listen to these brothers talk. The brothers don't give them no quizzes. The brothers don't get personal and intimate with them. And so they said they just summed it up. In all the amount of time that they've been Muslim, they got a lot of confusing information. You know, they didn't learn how to completely, they didn't know how to correctly pray until my classes. They come and, you know, they attend all my classes on the prayer. They did not know that until you learn the Fatiha, you can say Subhanallah, Alhamdulillah, La ilaha illallah, because they said they were reading from off a paper and they could never get their concentration together. They never understood how to do the positions of the prayer properly. They were too busy trying to pronounce a bunch of Arabic words that they didn't know the meaning of, that was written in phonetics for them. So, you know, I really enjoyed reading their journey in that email. And they said how coming to my class for the past 6 months has enriched not only their lives, but their marriage, because now they are both on the same page. Coming to my classes on the weekend, they know what she understands, what her role is as a Muslim wife. He understands what his role is as a Muslim husband. She said their children, you know, are practicing now. And subhanallah, she was, you know, saying how the power of knowledge, basically. She said that she feels as if she was in a state of darkness, a confusion, a ball of confusion. You know what she wrote that when I said, ball of confusion. Y'all know that was old 60s. Hey. The Temptations. There you go. Exactly. What happened to them? Oh, yeah. The guy got killed. The drug addict. Yeah, y'all know. But anyway, yeah, the Temptations. She said she was living in a ball of confusion. Her, you know, they were confused about the religion and what was expected of them as Muslims. But basically, her and her husband were saying in their email how now they know what to focus on. They know what their purpose is. The children are loving, learning the religion. And also, she just typed on the screen, they love my silly, quirky humor too. Yeah, my humor is quirky. Not everybody can get Laila, you know, especially when I come out with those 60, 70, 80, 90 songs, you know. I tell you what happens. That was an era. Okay, so mashallah, thank you for the kind words, guys. A nice email. It made my day. It helped me through my day as I was taking care of my personal business here, also dealing with the website. There was a calm. Now there's a hadith, one of my favorite hadiths, because you'll hear a lot of these speakers on the internet telling you that it's haram to praise a person. And I have to come back and tell you, no, it's not. Where's their dalil? This is an example of how they read a hadith that has been translated into English, and the English meaning is not correct because they don't know the Arabic word that means eulogize. There's a difference between praising a person, complimenting a person. That's the word. There's a difference between complimenting a person and eulogizing a person. Islam forbids us from eulogizing. To eulogize is to glorify. What does it mean to glorify something? To glorify something means to make it to be more than what it really is. It's to put it on a pedestal greater than what it is. We don't do that because the only entity that's greater than all of that is Allah. So there, you know, we don't glorify anyone but Allah. But the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam encouraged us to compliment people. In fact, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said in a beautiful, authentic hadith, one of the signs that Allah loves you is the good things that the people say about you. Don't deny a person the blessings of Allah. If you fail to compliment your brother or your sister in Islam, you're holding back the blessings of Allah towards that person. So that's the hadith. What it is, when they translated it into English, they used the wrong word. They should have used compliment. Compliment is something that you guys understand in English. Okay, that's why it's important to know the Fusha language. Or if you don't know the Fusha language, to have a teacher who does, who can teach you. All right, everybody understand that. So, like I said, and when I read those emails today from the sister and brother here, thank you for your kind words. Thank you for your compliment, because it gave me hope. I am a daya, I am your teacher, and I also need hope, because we get tested. I get tested a lot too. And it's good, to see that maybe Allah is pleased with me, that I'm making a difference, when I get the kind words like that from your thing. Why do we need you to recite some verses of Quran, Brother Ahmed? What is reciting verses of the Quran going to do? Okay. All right. So tonight we're going to begin our discussion of the world of the Jinn. The world of the Jinn. I want you guys to make sure to put me on your big screen TV. I am streaming live and simultaneously on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, Rumble, LinkedIn. Okay. Well, if you're Hafiz, that's nice. But what does that have to do with my topic today? Okay, you wanting to recite some verses of the Quran, what does that have to do with my class? This is not a Quran Tajweed class. This is a class, Aqidah class. If I let you recite the Quran, the people here don't speak Arabic, so they're not going to understand what you're saying. They're trying to learn what it means to believe in Allah in their language, English. I got about 60 new converts here. So we don't need you to recite the Quran for us. Thank you. I'm giving it to them in English, their transliteration of the meaning, so they can ponder it. These are new shahadas. All right, so let's get started here. Please put me on the big screen TV on YouTube, channel Sunnahfollowers, because I want the children to learn this. And also make sure you guys take screenshots of the PowerPoint, because like I said, we get so many questions, about the Jinn. I'm going to have these hadiths up here on the screen, these verses of the Quran, and break it down, the meaning of it to you. So hopefully whatever misconceptions many of you have about the Jinn, including my born Muslims who come from Muslim countries, who worship the Jinn. Oh yeah, we got people that worship the Jinn, guys. I want you to learn this stuff too. So let's see, let's put the PowerPoint here. Inshallah, you guys will be able to see. Okay, so tonight what I'm going to do is speak about what exactly are the Jinn, what they are actually. And again, everything here is based on what Allah said they are and what the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said. Okay. All right. So let's take a look at here. And I want to start off with this verse right here from the Quran, where Allah says, in the interpretation of the meaning, lo, he sees you, he and his tribe, from where you cannot see him. Now, Allah is speaking about Iblis. in this verse. We talked about how Allah allowed Adam and his wife Eve to live amongst the angels in paradise after they accepted, they and all of us accepted the gift of free will. And out of Allah's mercy, he allowed Adam and Eve to live in paradise amongst the angels to learn what is pleasing to Allah. And also he wanted them to live amongst Iblis, who is the father of the Jinn, to learn how Iblis will be an eternal enemy to us. And one of the things that Allah shared with us is that with Adam and Eve is to never lower your guard when it comes to Iblis and his followers, his tribe, meaning his offspring. As Ibn Abbas, may Allah be pleased with him, and Ibn Umar and Ikrim and others said, they said that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that Iblis is the father of the Jinn, just as Adam is the father of mankind. That Iblis was the first Jinn created, just like Adam was the first human created. So when Allah, and they define this verse, Ibn Abbas uses this verse where he says he and his tribe, he and his offspring. The Jinn can see us, but we cannot see them. So we learn from this verse that the Jinn, they live in a world of their own. Their world is different from our world, and it's different from the angels too. They're a different species. Allah created the angels, who are genderless, who carry out all his commands without hesitation. And then Allah created Iblis and the Jinn. The Jinn too accepted free will, just like we did. So they share some things in common with us, such as the Jinn have the ability to think. They have the ability to reflect, whereas the angels don't. Remember, the angels didn't accept free will. They don't think on their own. They don't reflect. They don't ponder. Famay and Awa, are you all here? Famay. Yeah, okay, and if it's Anissa and her television, y'all can time her out if she keeps doing that. Okay.
No, it wasn't Anissa.
Okay. All right. All right. So the Jinn, they do share in common with us the ability to think and ponder, whereas the angels do not. The angels were created to think only what Allah created them to think. So the Jinn, like us, they make their own choices in life. They choose to either obey Allah or to disobey him. And on the day of judgment, the Jinn will be judged just like us. They'll either be rewarded with paradise like us or the hellfire like us. So they share a few things in common with us. And also, a thing that they share in common with the angels, the Jinn are a part of the unseen world. What does that mean? That means that we cannot see them, just like we cannot see an angel, but they can see each other. Oh yes. Oh yes, the Jinn can see the angels and the angels can see them. Remember when the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam fought against the Quraysh at Badr and Uhud. When he was at Badr, remember, Iblis had taken on the form of an old man and was telling the Quraysh that they would have all this victory. But then when he looked up, he could see the angels coming on the battlefield. When he saw the angel Jibril, he took off running and disappeared. So the jinn are part of the same world that the angels are a part of, which is the unseen world. They can see each other and they can see us, but we cannot see neither of them in their original form. So what does that tell us? That tells us that the jinn share another characteristic with the angels. They can transform. They can transform. And also, Allah tells us that the jinn are created from fire. That's another difference. The angels were created from light. We were created from the dirt, the earth. And the jinn were created from smokeless fire. Allah tells us that. And the interpretation, the meaning. And the jinn did we create before the time of the essential fire. Smokeless fire. He says, and the jinn did he create of a smokeless flame of fire. Now, again, I tell you guys all the time, I don't use Ibn Kathir and them tafsir. I know the hadiths, so I don't have to use a tafsir book to understand most of the Quran. I know the hadiths. Well, according to Ibn Abbas, Ikrimah, Mujahid, these were some of the original companions, El Hassan, y'all know who that is, and others. The meaning of smokeless fire, smokeless flame, according to these original companions, they say it means the extremity of the fire, the extreme heat of the fire. And there's another hadith that describes it as the purest and the best of the fire. So again, when you guys ask me questions, I'm not going to give you Imam Malik's view or Imam Shafi's. I'm going to go right to my hadith books, because there's no question that any of us can ask that these companions have not already addressed. And remember, Allah tells us in the Quran, when it comes to Aqidah, when it comes to your belief system, our belief system is supposed to match that of the original companions, not anyone else. If your belief system contradicts what Ibn Abbas and these original companions said, then you're wrong. You got to change that. You can't take a modern day opinion over any of those original companions when it comes to Aqidah. So according to them, they say the smokeless flame refers to the extreme heat of the fire, or the purest and best part of the fire. Also in Sahih Muslim, Imam An-Nawawi explained too, he said the smokeless flame of fire is also that mixed with the blackness of the fire. That's the purest. And that's, as the companions say, the purest and hottest and best part of the fire. The blacker the fire, the hotter it is, guys. So that's what Allah created the jinn from. Also, to show the three different species, we have this hadith in Sahih Muslim from Aisha radiallahu anha. She said the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam said the angels were created from light. The jinn was made from a smokeless flame of fire. As the original companion said, the purest, the hottest, the best part of the fire. And Adam was created from what Allah has described to us in the Quran, from the earth, the dirt of the earth. So that's how the jinn differ from us and the angels in the way that they were created. And a lot of people ask the question, who came first? The jinn or man? Well, there is no doubt. I repeat, there is no doubt that the jinn were created before mankind. Allah tells us that. Listen to what Allah says. Again, in the interpretation of the meaning, we created man of potter's clay, of dark mud that was altered. And the jinn did we create aforetime. Aforetime. This is old English. What does it mean? Before. It's just another way, a synonym of the word before. We created the jinn before them. Before man of a flameless fire. So there's your clear dalil. This verse clearly states that the jinn were created before mankind. And as far as when exactly, only Allah knows best. Some of the early scholars thought that they were created 1,000 years before mankind, but again, there's no proof. If there is nothing from the Quran, if there is no nas from the Quran or the Hadith, we don't take nobody else's word. So when exactly, only Allah knows. All you need to know and all I need to know is that the jinn were created before us. And that's it. Okay? That's why the prophet said, don't ask too many questions about things that you won't ever find out the answer to. Okay? And by the way, there's different kinds of jinns, and they have different types, different names. Listen to what Ibn Abdul Bar said. He said the jinn, according to the scholars, are of different types. The first type is, if one is mentioning the jinn purely of themselves, that's the jinni. The jinni. The jinni. That's the jinn assigned to you. The jinn assigned to me. All of us have a jinn assigned to our heart. And we're going to talk about that jinn. Also, the jinn that live amongst mankind, they are called Ammar. 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 Of course, we can't see them. Okay? And then there's jinn that antagonize the children or antagonize the youth. Okay? And if one mentions the evil ones that antagonize the humans, they are called the shayateen, the devils. So when we say devils, these are the evil ones that go around hurting, antagonizing humans. Okay? The ones that go around antagonizing the youth. Okay? And the worst, the strongest, the ones that go around destroying marriages, the ones who try to get you to apostate, the jinn that attack the people of knowledge and cause them to lose themselves. These are the afrit. They're the ones that come out after Maghrib. They're the worst, the most dangerous. Okay? Do you have to learn those names? No. All you have to know is that there's different categories of jinn. That's all. Just different categories of jinn. All right? And our prophet, now this you do need to know. Our prophet, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, told us that there's three types. There's one type of jinn that flies through the sky. I want y'all to remember that. That's going to be on the quiz tomorrow. Remember, Allah speaks about that. Allah says when that sickness and disease comes from him. Pandemic, COVID, the flu, that sickness comes from Allah. And he says he has the jinn that have wings. They fly through the sky spreading it. So how did COVID spread all over the earth? The jinn that fly in the sky, they spreaded that disease all over the earth on their wings. Then the prophet said there's another type of jinn that can transform into animals. They can take the form of a snake. They can take the form of a dog. They usually take the form of an ugly animal, like a snake, a reptile, a frog. a scary dog. Okay. And then the third, and they can also take the form of a human being too. But the difference between them and the angels have the ability to transform too. And they have the ability to fly, which we all know they have wings. But the difference between the angels is this. The angels, when they transform into a beautiful animal, like a beautiful bird, a beautiful white horse, a beautiful lion, a beautiful animal. Whereas the jinn transform into snakes, spiders, cockroaches, rodents, rats, bad, ugly animals, possums, hippopotamus, and stuff like that. Ugly animals. And when they take on the form of a human being, the jinn are going to take on an old, ugly person, like the wicked witch. Those are jinn. They take on those type of appearances. Or like Iblis did, an old, broke down man with a cane when he went to the Quraysh. And then the third type of jinn, these are the kind that can travel real fast. They don't fly, but they can move about the earth real fast, like the Ifrit, the jinn that brought the throne of the Queen of Sheba to Solomon. Okay, he moved real fast, it's faster than the speed of light. So those are the three types of jinn, and I want y'all to remember that. They're going to be on the quiz. Some jinn can fly, some jinn can transform, and some jinns can travel the earth real fast. Okay? And believe it or not, guys, even though Allah mentions the jinn to us, he has a whole surah in the Quran about them, and there are numerous hadiths where our Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam speaks about them. Can you believe that there are a few people even today who deny the existence of the jinn? In fact, some of the non-believers, they refer to the jinn as being the souls of the planets. You know, these scientists out there, these atheists who don't believe in Allah, they'll say, well, those evil spirits are the souls of the planets. Also, there are some philosophers that claim that the jinn are the evil inclinations of the soul of mankind. The same way that the angels are the good inclinations. They say that a person can be so evil in his character, so evil in his persona, that evilness can appear as an evil spirit. Y'all have heard that before. They made many movies. Most of the horror movies are made by atheists who believe that the jinn is just the evil inclinations of the soul. Okay? And we have some modern day people that allege that the jinn are simply microbes and bacteria that's been recently discovered. You see that stuff on TV on the Science Channel all the time. And then we have a man named Muhammad al-Bahi who wrote about the jinn. And believe it or not, this man claimed to be Muslim, but he says that the jinn are angels. Can y'all believe that? To him, the jinn and the angels exist without any difference between them. And when he was asked to give his proof, he said his proof is the fact that the angels cannot be seen by man, and neither can the jinn. So since neither one can be seen by man, they're the same thing. And this man professed to be a Muslim. Okay, so believe it or not, there's a lot of people even today who deny the existence of the jinn, even though Allah speaks about them in the Quran, and there's numerous hadiths from our prophet about them. Okay? Of course, they don't have any proof of what they say. The mind that denies everything, as we learned when I did the series on the sins of disbelief, This is a person, that falls easily into the sin of disbelief because he wants to deny the reality. Listen to what Allah says about such people in the interpretation of the meaning. No, but they deny that the knowledge whereof they could not understand. And there's a lot of people like that Muhammad al-Bahi. If they don't understand something, they deny it. Just like the brothers today, these brothers that tell you sisters that wearing makeup is haram. There's nothing in the Quran that says makeup is haram. There's nothing in the hadith. The prophet wore makeup, believe it or not. So did the companions. The prophet's wives wore makeup. Okay? And like the prophet said, the things that Allah doesn't mention are lawful. But because ignorant men cannot understand why makeup would be lawful, they deny it and say, oh, it's haram. Because a man can't, in his mind, he pictures a woman as being depraved or whatever. So he can't understand why would a woman put on makeup or wear nice clothes when in his view, she's supposed to be unattractive because she's a temptation for him. That's your thinking. Islam ain't based on nobody's opinion, nobody's thoughts. As the Prophet Muhammad said, the lawful and the unlawful have been clearly defined by Allah. If you don't understand something, that's your problem. You don't go around denying it because you don't understand if the jinn exists. Even though we can't see them, that's not grounds for you to deny that reality. Okay? So the jinn are a third type of being, separate from the angels and separate from us. The jinn are intelligent. They have understanding, but they are not as intelligent as we are. And that's something I'm going to go into detail about when I go over do this series. You're going to discover that even though the jinn can think, they're not as smart as we are. They are of a lower intelligence than us. Okay? Also, they are responsible for their actions, just like we are. They have to die upon the straight path, just like we do. The same laws for us as far as the sins of 10 commandments and stuff applies to them too. They have different thicker regulations. Okay? But they have to abide by the Quran just like we do. They have to follow the Sunnah of the Prophet Muhammad just like we do. And just as there are Christians and Jews and atheists amongst us, believe it or not, there are Christians and Jews and atheists amongst them too. And we're going to cover all of that in this series. And again, our prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, if you hear the barking of a dog or you hear the braying of a donkey during the night, seek refuge in Allah from shaitan, because those animals see what you do not see. At nighttime, why is it that the dogs get to howling? And why is it that the donkeys get to braying? Why is it that your cats get to looking out the window? And you're like, what are they looking at? They can see the jinn as the jinn move about. They can see the evil ifrit as they move about at night. Okay? So we cannot see them, but the animals can. Okay? The animals can see what we cannot see. So at nighttime, when you wondering why your dog is barking and ain't nobody around, or you got cats like I have, and my cats just sit in the window and stare out into the dark night,